Hello, welcome to this week's episode of the Let Me Ask You This podcast. I am your host, E.B. Hepworth, and I'm so grateful that you're here. I start every single episode off by saying this, and I want you to know it is from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being here. You could be anywhere, and you're choosing to be here, and I'm so grateful that you're pulling up a chair, and it is my deepest prayer that these conversations will invite you to abide with Jesus. I am really excited about today's conversation because it was such a gift. I got to sit down with the brilliant, the tender, the hilarious, and the deeply honest Charaia Rush. For those of you who do not know Charaia yet, she's a writer, a speaker, a truth teller, a drop the micer, if you know what I'm saying, what the internet lovingly refers to as your internet big sis. And Charaia is so special. She has this really special ability to be honest and talk about the honest thing, the holy thing, the deeply human thing all at once. Her voice, it feels like you're sitting across from her and you're just looking in her eyes and she's saying, like, you're not crazy. This is hard, but God's here. Like, I love this friend. Charaia's first book, Courageously Soft, that was a book that was this beautiful countercultural, deeply sacred piece of art is what I like to refer to it as. And just talking about how to keep a heart tender when there's every reason to harden and numb out and armor up. And I loved that book and I love her ability to write. And she is now releasing her second book, The Myth of Bouncing Back, and it's officially here. And it's such an important, necessary healing work. Oh gosh, I'm almost finished with this book. I have a couple chapters left, but this book so far has been such a gift to me, you guys. This book, it just put back on this idea that resilience, it means that you have to return to who you were before your heart broke. It's amazing. And Charaia just invites you to consider that, gosh, maybe when you rise from this, maybe bouncing back isn't anything at all. Maybe it just means becoming somebody new, someone honest, someone tender. You know what I'm saying? And so in this conversation, we talk about that, what it means to keep getting up when life knocks you down, not once, not twice, maybe 129 times. I love Charaia and her heart for honesty and for her wisdom and for her willingness to tell the truth in a world that often prefers a cleaner story. So pull up a chair, friends. I think that this one is going to meet a lot of us in places that we did not realize is still so tender. So without further ado, here is my conversation with my friend Charaia Rush.
This is good.
Look at you!
Okay, hold on.
Dude, we made it out of the group chat.
All this time. It took years.
Quite literally years. Stop with your scarf.
Thanks. I've been wearing this every day. I think this is day 3. No, this is day 4 of wearing this scarf.
Okay, but it looks so good. And then last night at the baseball game with the red with the LA hat.
I was trying really hard. I love the slick back. I was just telling my friend, I think a white girl with a slick back is my... Yeah, I love it down. Y'all really did your big one.
But the only reason we do that is because it's oily.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Is this a silk press? Is that what we have going on?
Yeah. It's before. I'm trying to grow my hair out because I was bald.
Remember?
3 years ago? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Not a lot of people remember that era, but I'm trying to grow it out. I'm about to braid it back up because my roots are already sweating.
Dude, I cannot believe we're finally here.
I know. I'm so happy.
Do you know, I don't know if you for sure don't remember this, but when I lived in Colorado Springs, do you remember when we met?
Was it at CFIA?
Yes. Okay. And I mean, I was in one of those phases where I was like, remember 2012, it was like button to the top. We've got our skinny jeans. I for sure had those elf boots.
Absolutely. The Chelsea boots. We loved them with the skinny jeans, which was crazy.
Oh, it was a crazy move. But it's funny because we actually go pretty far back.
I know.
And so I've just had so much fun following you and just seeing all the things that you've just honestly accomplished. Like you are a runner, but you're also a weeper. And I think it's really hard to find people that do both. You know what I mean? And so,
I love that.
Yeah, I've always loved championing you from afar. But for people who don't know who you are, will you give a little bit of an insider scoop of how you spend your days?
Yeah. Well, I'm currently at my office for my day job. I work for an amazing local nonprofit, and we work to basically build trust between the church and the city. And so we have a bunch of different initiatives that basically try to hear the needs of the city and have the church meet those needs as we should be doing. So I oversee communications for the organization, which is spot on for me. I love
Totally.
storytelling. I love, visuals and all of that.
Yeah.
And so that's my day job. And then I just launched or released my second book a month ago, tomorrow or a couple days.
Come on,
So yeah,
4 weeks postpartum,
yeah,
baby.
I know. So that's been really cool. And now I'm just like, mulling over what's next. Like you said, I am a runner, which isn't always great. Like
Yeah,
sometimes
kryptonite.
I outpace the Lord often. So I'm trying to just figure out what he wants for me that's next,
Yeah,
and also just enjoying the summer with my kids and
totally.
all of that. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of my life.
But you're not a Colorado native, are you?
I am actually. I've
Oh,
been here since I was 2.
oh,
Mhm.
okay. For some reason I was thinking that you relocated there later in life. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Georgia for 4 years because
I
my
remember that.
ex-husband
Yeah.
was in, yeah, and then
I
we
was
moved back.
thinking,
But yeah, I've been here for my whole
wow.
life. I know.
Okay. I feel
No.
like people don't talk about this enough, which this could be a whole episode, but writers who still have to work, I'm like, can somebody pull up a chair?
And it's all honestly, it's a lot of us. Like, I mean, all of my friends are authors and we all have day jobs because let's be real.
Wouldn't
I mean,
that
writing is
be
great.
nice?
Right. Writing's great, but it doesn't always pay the bills. So, you
Negative.
know.
Negative. Oh my gosh. I'm always like, I was literally having this conversation last night with a friend. I'm like, at what point do you are you able to fully jump into the passion of just writing? Like,
Yeah,
it's just
no.
such a rarity that that's an option.
No,
And
it's
like,
true. And
oh
you'll
man,
find like when the book comes out, I was texting my friend on the launch and I'm like, wow, you like launch a book and then you clock in and you're like regular day. Like your
100%.
book's at Barnes and Noble, but you're answering emails and it's just like the duality of that existence. You're like, okay, like, nobody cares.
It's extremely humbling. Yeah. Like you don't know who
Is
I am, and that's just fine.
that's yeah. Truly.
Totally.
Truly.
Okay, well, I'm almost finished getting through all of this. I have
Oh,
about a fourth of the way to
yeah.
go, but I want to ask you, obviously every writer writes the book that they need. So where in your story did you
Yeah,
realize I am so done with this bouncing back? This is not
right.
doing me a service.
Yeah, I think, well, honestly, this isn't actually the book that I wanted to write.
Oh, come on.
Insider scoop. I'm
Let it
just
rip.
kidding.
Dude, let it rip. No, tell me why.
My publisher wanted me to write this book. I had presented like a bunch of different ideas and they wanted me to write this book. And I was just like, I do not want to write a book about getting back up because I felt like as a Black woman, I'm like, I'm not trying to be the cheerleader and like
For sure.
everybody expects us to be strong. Everybody expects us to like give the pep talk and the
100%.
inspirational talks.
Yep.
So I'm like, of all the things that I want to write about, this is the last thing I want to write about. And so then, obviously this was a book that needed to be written. And as I was sitting with this idea of resilience, I was met with like the frustration of being told I'm so strong. Like I don't like being told I'm so strong.
No, the
And
compliment
I
nobody
still
wants.
right. And I think I'm still processing why I don't particularly like that or I can't receive it as a compliment, but it just grinds my gears because it's like, we've all seen that image where it's like the woman's hand is out and as she's sinking and everyone's like, you're great, you're doing awesome, you're so
Yeah, yeah,
strong. And
yeah.
it's like, actually, I just want a hug. Actually, I just want you to be like, hey, that sucked. And so
Yeah.
I think for me, I was having a hard time with this idea that resilience is this bouncing back where it's like we go down in one form and we come back up in the same form because that's just not the reality of my
Nope.
life. Like
Nope.
I'm like, I can't point to that process in my own journey. And I'm sure there's other people that are basically
Neither
like
can Jesus.
disengaging. Neither can Jesus. It's so true. It's like we're disengaging with because we do need to be resilient. Like that is
Yeah.
who we're called to be. Like that's how we're
Yeah.
going to make it through this life. But I think that there's people that are disengaging with resilience because they've been offered this form of it that's not sustainable and
Yeah.
it's not honoring and has no soul. It's not honoring
100%.
to their story. And so that's who I was writing to was like, okay, I know you're tired probably of hearing you have to get back up. I know you're probably
Yeah.
tired of grit and resilience and all those words, but unfortunately you have to do those things. So how can I come alongside you and help you in a more compassionate way?
For sure. And so how has this played out in your life? Like your story of marriage and then divorce and then single momming it. Like your story does not look how you wanted to. And so how have
No.
you had to avoid bouncing back? Like
Right. No, my story is very much a Tyler Perry movie, if you're not familiar.
stop.
Like it's very much I can do
It's
bad
like
all by
my life is
myself. Like,
daytime
yeah,
TV at
yeah,
2
it
p.m. that nobody
could
wants to
be.
watch.
Could be. Yeah, right. Like you're late at night binging and you're like, oh wow,
We're
this
like
lady's
Shonda
life
Rhimes.
is falling
Come on,
apart.
where are you at?
Right. I will send
Okay,
you the
wait,
right.
really quick segue. Who would play you in your movie?
Ooh. okay, a knee along, even though we don't look anything alike, but
Dude,
because you're not gonna cast Viola Davis. I
that's
love her
the
now, but
last one I would have thought. That is hilarious. Oh my
I
gosh.
think it's
Okay.
just because I've been obsessed with her lately. So
I mean, we all are. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, back to the question. I think I would say I think when I was in the process of like leaving my marriage,
Yeah.
mind you, this was kind of the second time. For those that
Yeah.
don't know my story, like I
Yeah.
had left, we were separated, we were reconciling, and then I was like, okay, now we're officially divorcing.
Yeah.
I remember coming back to Colorado Springs, like back to the place where we met, back to where I grew up. Like it felt like I was
The
going
emphasis on
backwards,
back, dude.
back, like that back. Like, and I was just like, how am I supposed to move forward when I'm
Yeah.
literally in the very place where I feel like, everything fell apart
Yeah.
or everything started.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I had to like go through this process of being so mad. I was
Absolutely.
so mad at the Lord. I was so
Yes.
mad at, the people in my life. I was so mad at my
Yes.
ex. And so because of that, I had to learn like, okay, maybe I'm not going to recover as quickly as I want to. And so for me, resilience has been this surrender to this process that doesn't have a timeline, and this surrender
Mhm.
to a process that doesn't guarantee that that actually guarantees that I'm not going to get back up the same way. And
That I'll walk
that's
with a
hard.
limp, and
Right.
that's okay.
Exactly. And that is hard because we don't like, we love the stories in the Bible where it's
Uh,
like, and God uses our weakness, like,
we
but
love the diamonds. Yeah. We
we
love
don't
when
want
they
to be weak.
dazzle.
Right. We don't want to be weak. We don't want to limp. We want to like hide it all. And
100%.
we want these amazing comeback stories. But if we're honest, most of us don't have these amazing comeback stories. For a
No.
lot of us, our comeback story is when Jesus quite
Oh,
literally comes back.
100%. 100%.
So I think that's for me, just like having to be in this constant process of like, and another thing, and another thing, and another thing.
Totally.
And how am I going to change my perspective
Yeah.
about the fact that I'm going to fall and I'm going to have to get back up again? How am I going to do that well?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole like emphasis on even anger and rage. And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm literally like, should that be the next book? Because, C.S. Lewis's
Mhm.
famous quote of like, nobody told me that this grief looks
Grief.
so much like anger. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, every woman can identify with that, of this
Mhm.
extreme, just this like violent emotion that's like so disrupting. And
Mhm.
it's like, we're so uncomfortable with this, like,
Yep.
but even when we look at the gospels, like this emphasis on back, the one of the most famous stories of the woman with the issue of blood, how does she approach God? From the back. When the woman is
Right.
weeping and washing his feet, it says that she approached him from behind him. Like, so there
Right.
is this congruence with feeling like you're very familiar with the back of God rather than,
Mhm.
but this like emphasis that you are you are such a poet. It's like wild the way that you can string a sentence together. And I'm like, should we tattoo it on my face? Yes, we should. If not, and then the next one's just going to go
I'm
across my
screaming. I
chest.
cannot. I cannot.
But like you have this way of articulating words, and it's like, oh, that's exactly. And when you can give someone language for grief, because that's the
Mm.
thing, grief, we're so uncomfortable. It's exhausting,
Yeah.
it's tiring, it's exposing. All of a sudden we're like, oh shoot, it uproots
Right.
everything we thought we knew.
Right.
And so that's the emphasis of learning, okay, if Jesus rose with scars and he's not
Mhm.
minimizing the story and the pathway in which it,
Right.
had to, why are we doing that?
Right. Right. And
And
I
I think
think it's
we're
because
afraid. Go
we,
ahead.
yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
are afraid. No, I was going to say we are afraid, but I think we also, I literally just wrote a post about this today
Oh,
about
me
our
too.
obsession with this like glow up culture and like
Cool.
we feel like that's the closest to vindication. And I think if we're being real, like a
Oh,
lot of the anger that women feel is because we don't feel that vindication the way we want. We want people to choke on
absolutely.
their regret. Like,
So true, dude. We
let's just
want
keep it
him
real.
to choke.
Choke. Like if I pop out and I'm like skinnier, beautiful, like I want you to choke
You're not
as
gonna
you look at me.
know who came back. Yeah.
Exactly. But and so that has kind of infiltrated a lot of us, a lot of women in the
Yeah.
church, a lot of people in the church in general, where it's like, I'm actually not satisfied with getting back up. I
100%.
need it to look glamorous. I need it to look amazing
Dude.
because I think that that's the closest to vindication. And I actually don't want to do the real work of like being okay with my scars. Like I
Oh,
don't actually
for
want to do the real
sure.
work of
100%.
like having a point to this ugly thing that I
I know.
thought was in the past. And so I totally agree that it is fear, but it's like we want this glow up, which is just another form of like not handling rejection well or
No,
not handling our pain
it's a
well.
platitude to cover. It's like we're just microwaving this story, and it's
Right.
like literally, it's honestly pride with lipstick on. Like we just want to make it
Absolutely.
pretty. And this plastic
Absolutely.
surgery culture and this whole like we just want to change the way it looks so then
Yep.
we feel better. And it's like, I'm so
Right.
sorry, but faith and feelings, there's no congruency. And we have to accept that and sitting in the tension, especially as a
Mhm.
friend. Like, and I feel like you
Yeah.
unpack that really beautifully of like, why are we not talking about why can't we not be better friends to people that are in the ashes and dirt? Why are we so awful at showing up for people when they are
Why
holding
are
more ashes than answers?
why?
What are we doing?
I think it's because too we conflate ourselves in people's
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah,
Like
unpack that.
I think that especially believers, somewhere along the way, we're like, I'm actually going to be your Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And because I think I'm your Holy Spirit,
The
I'm going to enter this situation like I have to have the answers.
Oh yeah.
And if we don't have the answers, we just bounce or we give the worst answers, like Job's friends. We give the worst possible answers. Because the thing is, Job's friends, they did the right thing at first. They spent those days sitting with Job,
and they're like,
shutting up.
So weird. It's been 2 weeks and you're not better.
And then they showed themselves. And they were just like that. It's been so long. And then not only that, they could have just been like, it's been so long. Unfortunately, we can't sit with you anymore. So we're going to go live our own lives. No, they came back and they said, I was thinking about this. And I'm wondering if you're suffering because you are a bad person and you actually didn't pray hard enough and you didn't have enough faith. And it's like they try to ration something that they just need to let someone go through the process of. And so it's like, we want to like make ourselves super big in people's stories because we actually don't trust that presence is enough. We actually don't trust that the Spirit of God in us sitting with other people can quite literally be enough. We don't believe that, like, even hospitality, like we've lost that because we don't believe that it's a powerful move of the Holy Spirit in people's lives. Like, 100%. Hey, I know you're suffering. I'm coming over with dinner. I'll be there at 5:00. You don't have to answer the door. There will be a casserole in your front door.
That's so more spiritual than we realize.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so much more spiritual. And that it's ministry. Yeah. But we want the gratification of telling someone something and then seeing them be like, oh yeah, I get it. Because that feels good to our pride.
Look, ego. Yeah, that's all ego. No spirit.
So I think that's like, we struggle with not being the main character, and we struggle with the fact that like, oh, maybe God can just move in the presence and not in me yapping.
For sure. Yeah, the yapping has got to stop. And like somewhere along the way, we decided every testimony has to dazzle and shine. But like, what if the most miraculous thing was that they just stayed despite having like 50 years of ashes? Like that to me is more radical than a reconciled marriage or a healing of a disease or like that is radical. The gift of choice and choosing God and remaining tender. It's like, whoa, you know?
Right.
I wish the church would endorse that a lot more of like, hey, she stayed, everybody. Hey, she's still praying, you know, like,
and that's hard. I think it's hard in our American culture because people just, we want the comeback stories. We want the before and afters. We want this like glamorous, look what God did. Like I want look what God did by just staying with me while I stayed, you know, there has to be room for all of these different expressions of redemption.
100%. Beautifully put. Okay. And how did you learn to grieve the version of your life that you thought obedience was going to give you? Like just someone who's listening to this and they're like, okay, Charaia, you don't get it. You don't get it. I thought God, I heard, I did everything the Lord asked me to do. And yet this is my story.
Right.
Where would you tell them to start with the grief?
I mean, we keep landing at anger, and I do think that this is an important conversation. Yeah.
She's like, go to the rage room.
Yeah.
I agree, dude.
I literally said that to someone the other day because I think there's something to just being honest about my life isn't what it was supposed to be like. And even for me, like I truly believed that God was going to redeem my marriage. Like it was going to be reconciled. It was going to work out. And so when it didn't, and it wasn't just that the marriage didn't work out. It was that I grew up in the church. I followed all the rules. I did all the right things. I kind of was operating in like the prosperity gospel of purity culture, where it's like, if you save yourself for a marriage, then you will get the most amazing fine husband, and he will just be so awesome, and he will love you, and he will stay with you forever.
It's a lot to untangle.
It's a lot. And so you're sitting in the aftermath and you're like, but wait, what even was real? Like, what is this lie I was sold? And how do I find God
Yep.
through, like, I have to kind of scavenge through all of this stuff. Like, how do I find who God is? And I think that if we don't address our anger and get honest with the Lord about the fact that we are mad that our life doesn't look the way it wants to look, then it will show up later. And it'll show up in ways that we don't want it to show up. And I think that to the person that's like, you just don't get it, like, I probably just don't get it. And that's okay. I don't have to get it.
Yes.
Nobody has to get it. And I think that we sometimes want that validation of like, I want you to know how I feel. I want you to relate to how I feel. And it's like, no, actually, you need to just go to the Lord and tell him how you feel and trust that your anger isn't going to knock him off his throne, and do it as many times as you need to. If your prayer is just, I'm so mad.
Yes.
Let it be.
Yes.
If your prayer, if you can't open your Bible right now because you are that pissed off, let it be. Like, you have to trust that God will find you, because you're not out here finding God. He will find you.
Yep.
Even in your anger, even in your frustration, even in the pain. And you have to be willing to, like, it's one thing to not like sit with the anger ourselves. It's another thing to like sit with the anger and Jesus too, and just be like,
invite him in. Yeah.
We ain't talking, but I'm just here. Like, I'm mad. I am mad. And I think I just would want the woman to know, like, you have permission to just be in that for however long you need to be, but also trust that, like, there's going to be another side. Like, you're going to get through it. But we can't avoid the anger. We can't avoid the anger.
No. Yeah. I'm with you. How is Simon of Cyrene, how when he carries the cross of Jesus, he's the first person to actually tangibly walk in the blood of Jesus. He's there for Passover, and a Roman soldier just carry this. And he's literally walking behind Jesus carrying the cross. And we're drafted to carry something that we did not enlist for. Like, we did not sign up for this. And it's like, he has this rare vantage point of Jesus, all because he has to carry something he didn't ask to carry. And it's like, but the most radical part of it is that it says later in Acts that his son Alexander and Rufus are leaders in the opening church, like in the early church. And it's like, sometimes we don't realize our ability, how we carry what we did not sign up for, is going to affect generations, not to assign purpose to pain. I hate when we just
I hate it.
And we're like, it better be useful, and it better be shade for someone else to be able to sit under and find. And I understand that it's a gift to be able to give your brokenness to someone else.
But that's not the goal.
Not the goal. And it's like, we're so quickly want to just like microwave that. So then we're like, this is a testimony I can.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
It was worth it. Like, tattoo that on my lower back. No. So anyway, all that to say, it's not to say we're walking through things just for the future generations, but how you do carry things you did not enlist for does affect future generations. Like you said, you will bleed on places you did not want to.
Right. And I think too, like, not focusing so much on making sure you carry it well, and just focus on carrying it.
Yeah, just one
and knowing just one step. I think sometimes, especially as women that love the Lord, like, you can be angry at God and still deeply love him.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes the tension of like, I really love you, God, and I want to obey you. I want to honor you. I want to, do this the right way, but I'm so angry. And sometimes the only solution is like, I'm just going to carry this.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to focus on, am I doing this the most holy, righteous way? 100%. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
And trust that God is with me. But no performance.
100%. Okay. Well, what have you learned about lament? Like, you're well-versed in sorrow. And for a lot of, like, honestly, a lot of your story, there's so many layers. And for people who don't know, like, it's not just this, marriage, it's this lack of support that you have in general. Like, you're doing a lot. And so for someone who's like, man, like, I do sense that lament, but I don't, like, how has lament taught you and given you that special vantage point of God's face? Like,
I think it's one of those things, and maybe you can relate because you've been through your share of stuff where it's like, people are like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And you're like, I actually am just
one step at a time, and it wasn't.
And then now I'm here.
Yeah.
I think for me, I wasn't really familiar with lament, even the concept, until I was separated from my husband, because we don't really do the greatest job of teaching that.
I agree. Yeah.
And so I just wasn't familiar with that spiritual practice.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think, one, I've learned that lament is not just like a place that I visit and then I'm like gone. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, I never see, like, it's like a
No, no,
retreat
no.
area.
Yeah.
For me, I've realized like it has been a part of my practice, like on a weekly basis of just
Mm,
like, for example, my son plays baseball and he's having so much fun.
yeah.
But often I can see, he'll see like the other dads that are there and his dad's not there.
Sure.
And it's like, it's those moments where it's like, oh, like I'm lamenting right
Yeah.
now, presently, like actively in
At the
this very
baseball field.
ordinary
Yeah.
moment. And so for me, it's like for me, I've learned that God is truly in everything and he can meet us in everything. And I would compartmentalize like, okay, I'm gonna lament during my quiet time for 5 minutes over here and just tell me how I feel. But like what happens when you're triggered? What happens when you have a moment where you remember the pain? And just knowing that like God is so close that like he just held me in that moment where I could still be present for my son and I
Mm,
could still like give him hope and be like, hey, like you're so amazing and there's other people that are here that love
yeah.
you and I'm sure your
Yeah.
dad would have been happy to be here. Like
Yeah.
those ways of him coming and being just so present to me.
Yeah.
But I think I am realizing that it's just integrating into my life, like learning that grief, we all experience it in different
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
And we want it to just be like a pit stop.
No,
But
it's a permanent companion in
it's
the
a
walk of faith.
permanent companion that
Yes.
gets integrated into our life.
Yes.
It in a weird way, I'm not trying to glamorize grief, but it just adds texture
Yeah.
and flavor to how
Yep.
we experience life in a way
Yep.
that pure joy and never being, hurt by anything just can.
100%. Yeah.
And so for me, that's kind of what I learned from the Lord is it's like, oh, it's not really the sweet things that are
Yeah.
only going to add flavor to this life that I'm living with Jesus. It can be
Yeah.
the bitter things. It can be those things that I'm like, ooh, I hated that I had to swallow that. But it's
Yeah.
just incorporated into the wholeness of my life and the
Yeah.
embodiment of Christ in my life.
That's a word. Well, and it's like grief. Okay, yeah, we get to be sorrowful, and it kind of exposes, obviously, like it's our reach for Eden. Like we weren't
Right.
designed to carry this level of sorrow. So it's like,
Right.
there's something in us that's like, but then also for me and my experience with grief, it's also been very enlightening and like held up a candle in corners of my heart where I'm like, oh shoot, I've got a grief. My idolatry of the I thought life was gonna go this way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so it exposes a beautiful vantage point of God, but it also exposes the humanity of me and like,
Absolutely.
yeah, and that can be
That's
a little
so
bit
good.
disorienting because you're like, oh,
Absolutely.
shoot, I've been all angry at God, which I can continue to be, but also, wow, Lord, dang,
Right.
I got 40 dozen baby golden calves just sitting on the shelf in the attic of my heart
Mhm.
that I have not ever looked at, and that's terrifying.
Right. Right. No, that is so true and that is so good. And I think too, like every time we receive, like I think that that's the constant awareness of like every time God fulfills a promise, it can quickly become a golden calf. And
Yep.
and it's like that constant reminder of like because God, I'm going to be
Yeah.
married. Like I felt
Yeah.
like God promised
Totally.
me I was going to be married.
Totally.
That's just a
Yeah.
promise.
Yeah.
And now I'm constantly having to evolve like, oh, am I mad that the promise wasn't fulfilled, or am I mad that the promise didn't last as long as I wanted to, or it didn't look the way that I wanted to? And that's the calf. Like, we don't talk enough about that.
No, we don't. And it's like, why are we assigning as Christians? We're doing such a like disservice to the Lord when we
Mm,
assign promise to desires. Everyone's like, Charaia, you're going to be married. Evie, you're going to like for my infertility journey.
right,
The
right.
promise is that you'll be pregnant. I'm like,
Girl,
show me where in Scripture it
girl.
says that.
That is so good because even now people are like, God is going to give you it. Huh?
I hope so. Let it be. But
Also he actually didn't tell me that. And I think that that's for me, like I was in such a vulnerable spot too, like when I first came back and I started sharing my story and I'd get off stage and people would be like, I just know God
yeah,
but like he hadn't actually told me that.
yeah,
And so I think when we start to make a desire a promise, we begin to move in ways that we were never intended to move. And then we find ourselves settling for the manufactured promise that we formed with our own hands so that
yep,
we can feel this peace
yep.
that we were never meant to have because it like we were never meant to have that thing. And so even
No,
for me, it's like, I feel like I have a desire to have companionship,
of
but if
course.
that desire becomes promise. I'm
Yeah.
out here on these apps. Okay, I
Danger
mean, you're not
zone.
really, you're not really my type. You're not
Oh, and
really,
it's
or I'll
placebo
excuse.
promise too. It's you. It's this veneer illusion of like, I'm going to
Yes.
make it happen, which is again, the echo from Eden. Like we just always
Yeah.
want to do
Yeah.
what we want to do. But like, it is such a disservice when we just
Mm-hmm.
slap it. It says a desire fulfilled is a tree of life, not a promise.
Right.
And then we're just
Right.
using the promise of his presence regardless as a
Mm-hmm.
doormat. Because we're like,
Mm-hmm.
we forget the true promise when we're fixated on
Right.
the promise looking this way.
Right. And it's not enough. Like that true
No.
promise isn't enough. And that's a scary place to be,
Well, and that's why
honestly.
people walk from faith because they're like, y'all
Mm-hmm.
said it was a promise, and look at my life. I'm holding ashes, no answers. Explain that. And it's like,
Right.
no,
Oh,
no.
yeah. Yeah.
Man, okay, you're getting me all fired up.
I love it.
So, what would you say? This, I really want you to answer this. What does
Okay.
rebuilding actually look like when you're still tired?
Ooh. You know,
I've got a feeling you're still tired, dude.
I'm tired every day.
Yeah, me too.
And I
So,
think
how do
that
we,
that's just the reality.
what do we do with that?
I think for me, one of my favorite verses is in Jeremiah, and like they've had this devastation and the temple is gone, and the Lord promises like I'm going to rebuild
Yeah.
on ruins.
Yeah.
When you look at these ancient cities, like it's literally just like devastation, and then he rebuilds right on top. Like there's layers of cities that have fallen, and then a new city's built on top. It's fallen, then a new city's built on top. And I think for me, rebuilding when I'm tired really looks like being okay with rebuilding on top of the ashes and not feeling like I need to reinvent. I think sometimes when you're tired, you think that you just need to reinvent yourself
Totally.
and edit yourself and just get a new version of you. And so instead of actually doing the work of rebuilding, you're just trying to like outrun yourself in order to get like to stop feeling weary. And so that's why you're exhausted, is because you're just trying to reinvent yourself when really God wants to rebuild on ruins, which means you don't need this reinvention. You just need to a reunion and coming back to who God has called you to be, and coming back to the Lord and knowing that like he can do the work of making beautiful things, not just from the ashes, but like on top of that pound of ashes that we just wish we could just wipe away. And so every day, like being back in my hometown where like I met my ex-husband and so much of my story is happening, and I have people from different states, like even you were at one stage of my life, like it feels like eons ago.
Yeah.
It's just knowing like, okay, when I feel tired, I have to ask myself, like, am I tired because I'm trying to create my own version of redemption and restoration? Or am I tired just because, this is hard?
Life be life, yeah.
And life be lifing. And I think, I don't always have to be like putting my hands to something. Sometimes rebuilding is in just like abiding in not just the Lord, but like where he's called me to be. And sometimes we want proof that it was worth it. At least for me, like when I first came here, I was like,
of course.
that was me. I'm being honest. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get money. I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna get these deals. Like I'm going to show everybody not to feel sorry for me, because I hate people feeling sorry for me. Like I just want people to.
Is awful.
I hate it.
I would rather someone hate my guts than feel sorry for me.
Absolutely. And I'm constantly coming up against that as a single mom. I'm just like,
totally.
Yeah. And so it is my pride. I'm like, oh, I'll show you. I'm richer than you. I'm cuter than you. I'm more successful. Like that's just what it goes in my head. Lord, I'm saved, not delivered. Okay. Dude, that's right. So that's just me. But I think when I came back rebuilding, I was tired because I was just like, I'm going to do all this, like ambitious, and I'm going to make this life for myself. And I was like, hey, so actually this, like your heart, your soul, your spirit, these pain points haven't been rebuilt. There are still ruins in your heart. Oh. Because you're focused on making sure nobody sees any ruins. You're focused on making sure it doesn't look that ghetto, but it's ghetto up in here. And so sure, the only way you can rebuild that is by resting and abiding in me and sitting with me long enough. I remember my best friend, she was like, hey, love you so much. You keep hopping off of the surgical table and limping out of the emergency room, like God
IVs
is
off
trying.
with the
Yeah. And you're
just all
wondering
that.
why,
Yeah.
you're wondering why you're so tired and you don't have the stamina and
Yeah,
this
yeah,
isn't
yeah.
working. She's like, because you're actually, the rebuilding is actually you getting back on that surgical table and letting God complete the whole surgery.
It's a good
And
friend.
so that, I guess, is how I rebuild, is just like understanding that I may be tired because I'm trying to sprint to the valley that God wants me to walk through. I'm trying to jump off the table. I'm trying to expedite the process so I can move on with my life. And God's like, actually, the only thing I'm worried about is rebuilding you and I's relationship.
Oof.
The only thing I'm worried about is rebuilding the relationship that you have with the person that I created you to be. That is all I'm concerned. The other stuff, great, love it, consolation prize. But when it comes to what God is concerned with, we have to make sure
soul is number
our soul.
one. Yes.
Number one. Are we good?
Yeah. And he's like, honey, I didn't disconnect from you. You disconnected from me. So, and there's like a cadence to God and how he works, and you cannot sprint and heal at the same time. It's impossible. And so that like emphasis on resting while in the ruins, I mean, oh my gosh, dude, that's oily, because it's
the last thing you want to do.
It's the last thing you want to do. And it feels inefficient, and everyone's saying, what are you going to do next? And what's your plan? And what's this? And it's like, what are they going to do when my answer is literally, I'm just going to sit here and let God do his thing. I'm going to weep. I'm going to make macaroni and cheese for 2.5 years straight, because that's what I can do. And it's like, what if we stopped being uncomfortable with that? What if that was a normal response? I'm just resting in the ruins. That's my project right now.
Right.
Dude.
So good.
Wow. Okay. Well, okay. My last question I'll ask you. Okay. What are the small and unglamorous practices that you would encourage? You're sitting down, you guys have matcha, and they're like, honestly, Charaia, I don't like, what is a practical like thing I can do as I'm trying to rise for real?
That's good. I struggle with practical things because I'm a poet. So
she's a poet. She's so spiritual.
I'm just like, like it's so nice.
For a love story.
I think what I would tell her, like, practically, is, this may seem silly and stupid, but it helped me, was just writing down.
I was hoping you'd say that.
All of the things that I've lost. I think one of the reasons why we struggle with the ruins is because we don't want to do the work of like naming things. Like, I've never been in a national disaster, but I've seen a lot of videos of like people after like a tornado blows through. And I've seen videos of people just walk through and they're like, oh, wow, like that was my daughter's stuffed animal. And like, this was where our kitchen was. And I always found that imagery like very like haunting, like obviously super sad, but also like, I'm sure it was cathartic in its own way of being able to like name, like, this is where we had dinner and this is where my daughter took her first step. And like, I can't see the room. It's literally torn down. It's just a pile of stuff. That process of like taking inventory of the ruins, I think, can be more healing than we think it is. And I talk about in my book, like, how sometimes like the most like faith-filled thing we can do is to let something burn, which in our culture, like in Christian culture, we're really told like save it all, fight for your marriage, fight for this, fight for,
let's go.
So let it burn. So I'm like, it's sometimes God is actually calling us to let something burn.
I couldn't agree more.
We are tired because we're resisting that. Like, we're throwing water on a building that's like, God's like, hey, actually, there's not enough water to save this. And I need you to just let it become ash. Because what I need to do is on the other side of this whole thing coming down. Even if it was once an answered prayer, like getting married was once an answered prayer. And then to watch that burn down, it's hard to make sense of that.
Absolutely.
But I would tell her practically, like, take inventory of the ruins, because when you can take inventory of the ruins, you have better eyes and better perspective to see how God's going to redeem things. A lot of times we go into, we try to get back up, and then we have this desire, like, okay, God's going to redeem. And he always does. That's what he promises. Like, he's a redeemer. That's who he is. So when he enters our situation, he's going to enter as he is, which is a redeemer, a restorer. But if we don't take inventory of the ruins, we may start to look for something that God isn't going to redeem. He can redeem the time, but I didn't take inventory of like how I lost this, that, and the third. And so that would be like my first thing I would tell her is like, sit with that and take inventory of it. And then ask the Lord to give you eyes to see how he's going to restore what he deems worthy of being restored, or he wants to restore.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think just taking the time, it's so easy to like want to just bounce, get back up and go back forward and just like leave the past to the past and feeling like that's like the righteous response. But back to like lamenting, you have to be willing to say, oh, actually, I lost this. Like
100%.
When we think, okay, he's going to restore everything that the locust ate. What did the locust eat? What did they eat? What did they consume? Tell me. Yeah. And it's not even just for you. Tell the enemy. Yeah. This happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. Because when God does what he's going to do, you can be like, dang, you thought.
Well, and you look at your story and you're like, you thought this was ruins, but this is a memorial for a very messy life. And it's like the power of story. That's how humans learn. That's how we take in information. That's why Jesus talks through parables. And so, my counselor, we do a lot of story work. And it's like when you can take a step back and look at the story and actually have a eulogy for what was lost and have this in the full like funeral for the death of a dream or the death of a marriage or the death of whatever it may be. It's like, then you get to actually look at it, look at the story work, and then you get to start to tell yourself the truth of, okay, this is who I am. This is who God still is. And it's like, dude, the power of story, the power of memorializing the mess, all of that, it is so crucial for the way that we keep walking forward. Like if we can't take a good look at what burned up, why do we think that we're going to be able to like walk forward and handle the rest of the story? Yes.
So true.
Oh man. Gosh. Okay. Well, where can people find you? What do you, how can we celebrate you?
Find me on Instagram.
She's an Instagrammer.
I'm on Instagram.
Take what you need.
And I'm on Substack. I'm with Love Big Sis. And both my books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, wherever. And that's pretty much it.
Amazing. My God.
Thanks so much for having me.
I told you this friend was just magnetic with her beauty and her way to articulate the human experience. If you have not already, make sure you head over to the link in the show notes so then you can purchase Charaia's newest book, The Myth of Bouncing Back. I know that it'll bless you. And then after you read it, give it to a friend. And if you have a free minute, I always ask, please rate this on whatever platform you're listening to, but also please leave a comment on whatever part of this episode that Charaia shared that spoke to you. On my end, when I'm editing these things, I mean, it's just me back here on the producing side. And so it blesses me so much when I am actually hearing which part spoke to the listener. It means literally more than I can say. And so until next week on the Let Me Ask You This podcast, I'll see you then.